Hello guys and girls, and welcome back to another episode of Seb Talks Sports, sponsored by Hoopin and Lutin, the place to go to for your favourite new and vintage jerseys and apparel from all things basketball. Today I've got another great guest for you all. This interview is from the summer of 2020 and features a player whose career spanned 2 countries. After 4 years in the NFL on the Steelers and Lions, playing alongside some of the greatest players in the modern era, he enjoyed further years in the CFL across the Canadian border. It's the brilliant Stefan Logan. Enjoy. My guest today is a pro football running back who spent 4 years in the NFL playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Detroit Lions, as well as many further years in the CFL, whilst an impressive, long-lived career. It's a pleasure to welcome Stefan Logan to Seb Talks Sports. Stefan, how you doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing this evening?
Good, thanks. Thank you very much. Happy birthday for Tuesday as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hey, getting older, but hey, still trying to keep it young.
Good stuff. Okay. What are your earliest memories of playing sport, and how did you end up falling into the running back position?
My earliest playing sports, I've been playing sports all my life. It was just something that I just loved to do. It was always fun for me. I didn't start playing football until organized team football until my brother wanted to play. And that's when I finally stepped on the field and I put that helmet on and put those pads on. I knew from that point on, I wanted to be a pro football player. So that's kind of like how my journey started.
Nice one. You've been playing ever since?
Playing ever since, man. So then after that, it was like off to the races. I didn't let nothing stop me. I was always determined to be that guy.
Good stuff. We've seen some great shorter running backs across the NFL. Barry Sanders, Reese Jones-Drew, Darren Sproles, that kind of thing. As a smaller running back yourself, was there a particular player you modelled your game after? And who was your general biggest inspiration?
Yeah, I wanted to model my game off of Barry Sanders. I was always a fan of his. I mean, just the way he played the game, his moves, his shakes, and everything he did. That was that was the way I played. So, that was my idol. I wanted to be. Only thing I didn't want that Barry Sanders had, I didn't want that number. I didn't want number 20. But, other than that, I wanted to do everything he did, and it was possible. So he was somebody that I really looked up to when it came to watching football as a running back. And if I played receiver, Jerry Rice was one of the guys that I wanted to be if I played receiver.
Absolutely. And how does it feel to put on that Lions helmet knowing that Barry Sanders has put that on before?
Once I got there, that was one thing that stood out to me because I knew a running back that I idolized when I was younger and I wanted to be every spitting image of. I know he played with the same team that I had just, got picked up by. So once I got there, I knew I was like, man, I want to meet him. I don't know if he comes back. I don't know if he comes back to the organization. Do he, give back? Do he even be around the organization? So I knew whenever I got a chance, I would go to him. I would shake his hand and let him know that he was not the reason I played football, but when I started playing, he was somebody that I wanted to be exactly like when I was on the field.
Absolutely. Definitely one of the best backs we've ever seen.
He was. I mean, everybody, we'll talk about Emmitt Smith, and you'll talk about some of the other guys. But if it was another guy, if it wasn't Barry, it would probably be LaDainian Thomas. LaDainian Thomas, he was another dynamic running back that had speed, vision, hands. He can block. And he was just an all-around talented running back. So he would be another running back that I would want to take my game after.
Good stuff. Okay, so you joined the Steelers in 2009 after the team had just come off that obviously famous Super Bowl 43 win against the Cardinals. So what was it like to be invited to that franchise to compete for and eventually get a roster spot? And what was the atmosphere like there?
I knew they had just came off a Super Bowl win, and I knew that it was going to be a little bit of a challenge to make that team. So I just knew I just had to stay focused on being the best that I can be and not worry about everybody else because they had drafted, I was a free agent. They had a draft pick in the 5th round that was named Joe Burnett that went to UCF. He was an All-American returner. And I knew I was going to be competing against him and a few other guys. Mike Wallace came in That was his rookie year, but he wasn't doing no returns or anything like that. It was a few other guys that I was competing against as well, but it was a great football team. I mean, Mike Tomlin was he's a great head coach. Just the team alone was good. We was full of veterans. And, if you got a team like that in 2009, Mike Tomlin, he didn't really have to say much. He didn't really have to do a whole lot of coaching because he let his coaches coach and he let his vets do their job, which is if anybody got out of line, the vets would say something to you. All he had to do is stand on the side and blow the whistle when needed. But being there for that year, I think Mike Tomlin only said something in practice. I would say for training camp, he probably said something maybe twice. And during the season, I would say maybe 2 or 3 times during the season because he didn't really have to say much. All he had to do is, like I said, sit back and hold the whistle, and he let his coaches coach and he let his players play.
It's a sign of a good head coach.
Yes, he was a great head coach, and I really appreciate him for giving me my start. So I don't have no bad blood, even though they released me after that year because they had drafted Antonio Brown and Emmanuel Sanders. So you gotta understand that this is a business part of it. It had nothing to do with my play, it had nothing to do with my talent. They paid these guys to come there, and I was a free agent, and both of those guys had return capabilities as well. So that's just the way the cookie crumbled. But I was still able to play 3 more successful years after that. So I have no complaints at all.
Absolutely. In that 2009 season with the Steelers, you broke the single season franchise record with 1,746 return yards because obviously you played special teams as well. How does that feel to know that you held that achievement at the time?
I didn't know anything about the record when I first started. After a while, once you just get back there, you start getting all these kickoff returns and punt returns. And then when you get close to something, then people start speaking out and saying, hey, you're about to break a record. And I'm like, what record is that? It was like most kickoff return yards in a season. So the only thing about that is once they tell you, now you're focusing on trying to get that record instead of continue doing what you've been doing for you to get close to the record. Mm-hmm. So I say, you know what? I'm not going to try to achieve that record. I'm just going to keep playing like I've been doing. And if I do that, I'll break the record. And I forgot who we was playing against. I don't know if it was Baltimore or if it was the Raiders. I can't remember. But I remember when I had got the ball and I had a guy on the sideline, he was telling me, he said, Steph, you're close to breaking this record. I was like, all right. So once I caught that ball and I took off running, and once I came through the line of scrimmage and I got about a good 20 yards, I knew I had already broke the record already. So, once I was running, I got tackled on our sideline. They put on the Jumbotron. I had broke the single season record. My teammates was cheering for me. They clapped for me. If you watch the video, Mike Tomlin was on the sideline. He cheered for me. He said, man, good job. Congratulations. But, hey, the game ain't over yet. So I was like, all right. So they kind of, gave me a little pat on the back, gave me the football. I waved to the fans, went to the sideline, and then when the next kickoff return came, get right back out there and do the same thing. So, you have to sit back and, appreciate the awards and accolades that you achieve because that stuff don't come all the time. I really appreciate those guys out there blocking for me. I really appreciate the Steelers organization for even giving me the opportunity to even break that record. So, kudos to them and myself and the guys out there for us doing everything we can to achieve that.
Absolutely. A special moment for you there. As an NFL player, you played under some impressive football minds, like we've been saying, Mike Tomlin, but also Jim Schwartz on the Lions. How much of an impact did those two have on your game, and how much did you learn from those two guys?
When I got to the Steelers, I got a chance to watch Mike Tomlin, which is a Super Bowl winning coach. I got a chance to watch him work. I got a chance to watch him be a head coach. And he was already polished and ready to go because he had already been there under the helm for a few years already. And he already knew what to do. He already knew what to expect. He knew what he was looking for in his players. So it was like, all right, hit the ground running. And with Jim, he was still wet behind the ears. He was still new as being a head coach. I think when I got there, that was his second year as a head coach. And he was still new. He was still fresh. He was still trying to learn his players. He was still trying to learn how to be a head coach. And that's when I kind of saw the difference between the Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin and Jim Schwartz as the head coach. You kind of juggle it a little bit, but you're like, hey, I'm just here to play. So, I got a chance to see that. And, like I said, Jim was still new to it. And I would say, as you can see him as for the Philadelphia Eagles, he's a great defensive coordinator who would never take that away from him. But I think if he get another chance to be a head coach, I think he'll be a lot better than he was his first time around, because now he knows what to do, how to approach the situation, and I think that'll be a better situation for him if that time come back around for him the second time.
Okay, so you've played with some of the best football players of the modern game, like Big Ben, Troy Polamalu, Megatron, and Ndamukong Suh. Some great names there. Who would you say is the best player you've ever played with and against during your time in the NFL?
I would have to give it to, okay, I would say with the Steelers, I would have to give it to Troy. Troy was just, he was amazing out there on that field, man. I mean, I've never seen somebody, he practiced with tennis shoes on. He didn't even practice with cleats on. It didn't matter whether we was on grass, we was on turf, he had on tennis shoes. And for him to move around with tennis shoes on, to have that balance was different. I never saw that before. And I can say, like, he was very, very impressive to watch, the way he did things back there. And not only him, but when I watched, Ryan Clark, he orchestrated the whole thing, getting people lined up, getting people in place. He was just, he was great back there. He's not going to be listed as one of your best safeties, but if you got a chance to play with him and listen to how he get guys in order and what they need to be, it was very impressive. And I mean, just to talk about some of the other guys, I mean, Hines Ward was very, very vocal. He always told us, what's going to happen if they line up in this type of defense. This is what's going to happen. If they line up in this type of coverage, this is what's going to happen. So it made it a lot easier for us when we got on the field. And if I go to Detroit, I mean, Calvin, of course, you have to say, Megatron, he was unbelievable out there. I mean, at 6'5", 235, 240, to run a hitch at 6 yards, that's for somebody that's 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", to run a route like that and be quick. He running it, getting in and out the break and everything, and still have room to spare. It was impressive. I got a chance to play with him, 3 years with him, and I was there with Ndamukong Suh, Nate Burleson, which, that's my guy right there. Me and him, we still friends till this day. We still talk all the time. I still go and see him and his family in New York, and I'm very, very happy about what he's doing. And on paper, we probably had one of the best teams on paper. I mean, we was unstoppable. We had a nice team, but we just didn't have that leadership to rally that team and rally those troops to be that professional and be that elite football team. So that's what we lacked a little bit. But other than that, on paper, we had the best team.
Yeah, when I was looking at that team, I was just starstruck by the amount of names on that team. Unbelievable.
We had some guys, man. I mean, on both teams. I played on two teams one team went to the Super Bowl. The other team, when I was with Detroit, we had a chance to go to the Super Bowl. We had everything that you can ask for. We had a running game, we had a quarterback, and we had receivers, we had a D-line, we had everything, but unfortunately it didn't pan out that way. But at the end of the day, what can you do?
One thing that definitely did pan out was that run. We've got to talk about that run you had. The Lions in 2010, obviously ran the entire length of Ford Field to score the longest touchdown of that season, 105 yards. So can you just tell me what is going through your mind as you're taking off? Are you looking for gaps or blockers? And just how does that experience feel to run the entire length of the field?
I mean, at that time, you don't really know what's going through your head. Every time you catch the ball, you're trying to take it the distance. So, once I got that ball and I just took off running and I seen a lane and I just hit that lane, and the guy, when he grabbed me, I kind of thought I went down, but then I kind of, it's kind of like you kind of brace for it. And when I was still on my feet, I kind of, quick look. I was like, oh, I'm still running. So then I took off running. And then next thing you know, you see a clear path and you running it, and it just feel like you're trying to get to that end zone as fast as you can without making a mistake, without falling, without tripping, without running out of bounds, without doing anything. You just like, oh, run. I can hear the fans. They just screaming and hollering. They jumping up and down. It was crazy, man. The stadium just erupted when that happened. And it's still a record there. I tied the record actually, and it's still there to this day. So, I got two major franchises that I got records with both teams. So that's always good for me.
Okay, so let's quickly touch on your time in the CFL. So you spent nearly 10 years in the CFL. What was your greatest memory playing in the league, and what's the toughest atmosphere to play in Canada?
When I had the chance to play running back in 2008, that was when I loved playing football because I got a chance to play my position. When I was a returner, I was out of position because I never was a returner. I didn't play returner until I got to the Steelers. But that time when I was with the BC Lions in Vancouver, when I was at running back, I absolutely loved it because they let me be the football player that I wanted to be. I was a running back. I really enjoyed it, and it was fun to me. I would say that one of the toughest atmospheres to play in, I would say it'd have to be either Winnipeg or Saskatchewan. Because their fans are hype. Their fans are always tuned into the game. They're jumping up and down. They talking trash to you on the sideline. So it's quite the experience. But for a lot of people that don't know a lot about Canada, they're always knocking until they go over there and see that there's some talent over there that you wouldn't know nothing about until you come over there. And it's not just because you played in the NFL for 5-6 years, you can come over there and just win a spot. It don't work that way. It's some talent over there that will make you think twice about, okay, I'm going against this guy right here. He might have spent some time in the NFL as well. So he just getting his opportunity in Canada that he didn't get in the NFL. He had a chip on his shoulders that he's out there doing his job. So, that's kind of like how it is when people come over there to Canada. That's their mindset.
Okay, so you're 39 now and playing football as recently as last year for the Ottawa Red Blacks. By 39, a lot of players are enjoying retirement. So what is it that made you want to play until you're 39?
I always say age is only a number. Everybody know my motto, my hashtag, age is only a number. So I don't look at my age. I just look at, when I'm out there on the field, when you're looking at a 26-year-old, and then when you look at me on film, is there a big difference? Like, is there a big gap in between? It's like, okay, I'm up, if he's 26 and he's here, and I'm 38 or 39, I'm right here. That's not really a big difference. That's not a big gap. You might be paying the 38 or 39-year-old a little more money, but you know what you're going to get out of him. You don't have to worry about, is he going to get the carry, fumble the ball, drop a pass, not cover his guy on defense or something like that, compared to a young guy that you got to be, hey, man, you got to make sure you're in cover 2 on this, or you got to make sure you're in cover 1 on this. You got to make sure in deep thirds. You got to make sure you run this pitch right. You got to make sure you run this dig. You don't have to worry about doing all that because this guy's already prepped, ready to go. All you got to do is just put him out there. I don't look at age. I don't care about none of that. I just like playing football. And as you can see, I was able to play 13 years pro football, so it panned out in my way as well.
Absolutely. That's a great answer. Okay, so we're going to end with some quick fire questions. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Okay, Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Dogs or cats?
Neither.
Okay.
Yeah.
Twitter or Instagram?
Instagram.
Biggie or Tupac?
Tupac.
Favorite sports film of all time?
I'll have to go with Remember the Titans. No. Let me change it. I would have to go with I'm going to have to go with the program. Okay. I have to go with that.
And obviously, we just had the last dance. So, big question: MJ or LeBron, in your opinion?
Oh, I'm gonna go with MJ because MJ was my era, and he was in my era when I was watching basketball. LeBron is the new era, and after MJ, it was Kobe, and now it's LeBron. With the passing of Kobe Bryant, I was a diehard Kobe Bryant fan. I have jerseys, I have shoes, I have hats, I have all this gear. So I've actually went to the games and watched him play. So I have to go with MJ because he was my era. LeBron is a new era of this generation. So, I'm MJ.
Good answer. Stefan, thank you so much for your time. Where can people find you on social media?
If you want to find me on social media, you can go to my Instagram. I'm on there a lot, Stefan Logan _0. I have a Twitter page, but I'm not on it very much. But if you need to find me, you can find me on Instagram. If you want to message me, you want to comment about something, feel free. I'm always willing to answer questions, no matter what it is. Shoot it at me. Follow me on Instagram. I'm always about having fun, laughing, giggling. So if you want to talk or find me on Instagram, it's Stefan Logan _0.
Perfect. I'll make sure to leave your link down below so people can find you easily.
Thank you very much, man. Thanks for having me, man.
That was the fantastic Stefan Logan, a man who beat the odds as a 5'7" undrafted running back that went on to break the Steelers' record for return yards in a single season in 2009 with 1,746. And if you haven't already seen that 105-yard touchdown return Stefan had for the Lions in 2010, go and check it out on YouTube. It's an incredible play. You can check out Stefan on his social media accounts and keep up to date. All the links you need are in the description of this episode. I've got many more great guests coming very soon, so stay tuned right here on Seb Talks Sports. Catch you soon, guys.